I'm a biochemist by training, and the most interesting part of my life started at PhD level when I worked with Professor Merton Sandler as a group on tryptophan and serotonin or 5-hydroxytryptamine, and that really has informed all the rest of my life. I learnt some very useful technology at Queen Charlotte's Hospital in London. Immediately post PhD, we rather liked Switzerland, my husband and I, and we both got jobs in Geneva. I with the university, he with the Battelle Institute. And for various personal reasons, I wished to look at melatonin, a hormone which is derived from serotonin and tryptophan, so that my background knowledge was very useful at this point. And I found a group in Geneva who measured very low levels of hormones, steroid hormones, by radioimmunoassay. And in order to study this hormone melatonin, we needed a method which was extremely sensitive, like radioimmunoassay, but which had never yet been developed. The standard way of measuring melatonin at that time was to feed it to tadpoles or to drip it on frog skin and watch them become paler as a function of the concentration of the hormone. And this was very tedious, whereas with this technique called radioimmunoassay you can process large numbers of samples rapidly. So I was lucky. I had the right chemical background to make the appropriate reagents in order to develop this measurement technique, and it measures down to 10 to the minus 12 grams per milliliter of hormone, which is, well, that's quite sensitive really, and that's the level it had to be at in order to be useful. We looked at a lot of things in Geneva days, but one of the things that happened very shortly after publishing this measurement technique was that a psychiatrist called Leonard Vetterberg in Stockholm rang me up and said could he come and see me. He wanted to measure melatonin, the hormone, for a long time, and this looked like the best possibility to date. He wasn't the only person to ring up and say they wanted to measure melatonin. It turned out quite a lot of people did, particularly psychiatrists. And this is in relation partly to SAD, or winter depression, because melatonin is a light-dependent hormone, and winter depression is a light-dependent or day-length-dependent problem, it appears. It's probably relative, in fact. I think I get winter depression in summer when I come back to England from somewhere nice like the Mediterranean. But anyway. Right, so lots of people were interested in measuring it at the time. We were interested in looking at the function of the pineal organ, which is the main source of melatonin in the body. And at that time it was thought to have a strong influence on the timing of human puberty, partly because pineal tumours are associated with abnormal pubertal development. That has actually been scotched, that theory, since the 1970s, which is what I'm talking about at the moment, in that precocious and delayed puberty can be related to other more important phenomena probably. But nevertheless, it was associated with reproduction, and it was associated with light, the pineal gland. Okay, so we set off to try and look for a possible association in humans between the pineal gland, its hormone melatonin, and the timing of human puberty. We couldn't find one, unfortunately. It's it's never been shown conclusively that the pineal has a major influence via melatonin on human puberty, but at the time we probably could have done the experiments better by being more in control of the environment. We've learnt a lot about how to measure light-sensitive hormones since then, and we probably didn't control the light sufficiently. However, in the meantime, we did look to see if light would suppress human melatonin, as it does in animals. We only used room light intensity, which is what you get in your own living room when you turn the lights on maximum about 500 lux usually. And it didn't significantly suppress in our very first experiment. And this is going back to 77 now. We all know now that light does suppress human melatonin if you give enough bright light, and Al Louis was the first person to show that bright light would completely suppress it.